Well, we've finished our adventure in Western Australia for quite a while, and now, boom, we're heading into the Northern Territory for, well, we don't know how long, but we are actually coming back to WA for a couple of days just to do the Bungles Bungles Tour. But in the meantime, hello Northern Territory, goodbye Western Australia, and hello for the rest of Australia, wherever our journey takes us. The Northern Territory road had changed slightly, but was still good and easy to drive along. And the landscape did constantly change. In Timber Creek, we were surprised to see a local driving a Rolls Royce. Here we are at Timber Creek. See? There it is. Yep. We're about to leave. The Victoria River was a nice surprise, but we didn't stop as we had to get to Darwin. The hurried trip to Darwin took about 8 hours. 5 days later and we head back to Kununurra again. Our first stop was Pine Creek. Pine Creek? This is a lovely little place. It's about 90 kilometres north of Katherine. It's a nice little mining village, but you can get some really good food here. We often stop here for a meal because the food is good. We've just had breakfast at Maisie's, and there's also a railway hotel here which is also pretty good. So if you are doing the drive from Katherine to Darwin or vice versa and you feel a bit hungry, then just pull into Pine Creek. We guarantee you will have a good meal.
He's going to wonder what we're doing. Put your window down and thank him.
Thank you. You're now the star of stage screen. You'll be on the big screen very, very shortly. We'll give you top billing. Well, we've just gone through the town of Katherine and we're on our way to Kununurra again because we're going to do the Bungles Bungles Tour. We couldn't do it. It was booked out when we were there last time, but it is worthwhile going back to Kununurra to do it. So here we are, we're on the road again. We've done this before, and we know the distances, and we know that it's not all that difficult to do when you manage it, but it's a good drive. We've had a lovely time coming down from Darwin. We left just after 7:15 and avoided most of the traffic. So we're on the road, headed to Kununurra, heading for one of the best adventures we're going to have on our little trip. And here we go. Well, we're going to just enjoy the drive today. One thing I really like about the Northern Territory, because you are travelling vast distances, is they tell you how many kilometres it is to the next rest area so that you can plan for it. It's a great idea. Out here it depends how often they occur. Sometimes it might be every 80, 90 k's or whatever. Now bear in mind, if you're travelling 130 or even if you're travelling 90, it's not really all that far, but usually the facilities at some of these rest areas are very good indeed. So it is a wonderful thing that you know when you can have a stop because they tell you, and then they'll give you a 5k and a 1k warning that it's coming up. Very good Northern Territory government. Oh, you are so safety conscious, and I'm proud of you. We encountered lots of travellers along the way and overtook many. Living the dream, towing a car around Australia. I'd use a tow truck if I wanted to tow a car around Australia. I should have been playing canned heats on the road again. We're back in Timber Creek because we're on our way back to Kununurra to do the Bungles Bungles Tour, which is fine. We stopped here for lunch at the Timber Creek Hotel, and we just thought we'd have an ice cream and something like that. We thought, oh, we'll sit in the shade on that picnic table over there. Well, guess what? It's lunchtime. There are heaps of people here, and what are they doing with the only table and chairs that are under shade? Got the bloody sprinkler on. What idiot thought to do that at peak hour, at lunchtime here in Timber Creek? I mean, seriously, you'd have to be loco, wouldn't you? Well, here we are. We're leaving Western Australia once again. But the only reason we are doing that is because we couldn't book into the Bungles Bungles Tour last time we were in Kununurra, and it was worth the 1,600 kilometre return trip to come to Kununurra to do the Bungles Bungles Tour, which we did yesterday. Most magnificent tour we've done. It was just brilliant, pretty much undescribable really, because it was just exceeded our expectations. But here we are now leaving Western Australia to enter the Northern Territory, and we're going to be up in the Northern Territory for quite some time. Goodbye Western Australia, see you when we return. We had sit back to Kununurra for just one day. Now we're heading back to Darwin for an extended stay. As we weren't in such a rush, we did a little more sightseeing. Just off the highway near Timber Creek, we stopped at the Victoria River, which even in the middle of the dry season had a good flow. We couldn't investigate further as there is a big military establishment there. Still, it was a very calming place to be. About 90 kilometres east of Timber Creek, we encountered the Victoria River settlement. The roadhouse and accommodation seemed to be much better than at Timber Creek. This is the Victoria River Roadhouse, sort of closer to Katherine than it is to Kununurra, but it's sort of over halfway from Kununurra to Katherine. We've tried a few of the roadhouses on that road because we've done it a few times now, and I have to say, this was the best of them. The food is really good, it's clean, there's cabins here, there's a caravan park, there's plenty of shade, and it's an excellent view as well. So if you are going to be doing the trek between Kununurra and Katherine, I recommend that you stop at the Victoria River Roadhouse. Here's Heather's Kia Sportage at the Victoria River Roadhouse. I tell you what, we've done well over 6,000 k's in this since we started our trip, and we're on our way back to Darwin after zipping down to Kununurra for the Bungles Bungles Tour. She's performed beautifully. We'll be doing over 7,000 k's before we get to Darwin. We haven't had any issue whatsoever with her, except the fact that it got a bit dusty on the road between another guy and Marble Bar. That's not her fault, that's our fault, but she's really, really good car. She's comfortable, and she's pretty economical as well. Kia Sportage. Oh, Heather's car. We don't have a name for you. We're going to have to give you some name. I'll talk to her about it. Yes, very good. Doing a great job there, Kia. Well, here we are. We're on the road to Katherine from Kununurra. A lovely trip. It's been terrific so far. It's not all that hard driving up here, but you do have to concentrate because you do travel at quite a fast speed. But yesterday at the Bungles Bungles, we learned all about termites because there are so many termite mounds around, basically everywhere we've been. Now the thing about the termites is each termite nest has only one queen, and what happens is when the old queen is dying, she lays 2 eggs. One of them is male, which becomes the king, and the other one is the female, which of course is the queen. And what they do is they fly off together, and at some point the king chews off the queen's wings, and wherever she falls, that's where she will start her nest. Now, when they start building the nest, the king mates with her. He then loses his wings and he becomes a soldier termite, which helps to secure the nest. The queen then gives birth to 12 eggs to start with, and then after that she keeps building up until she can produce about 30,000 eggs a day, and the queen can live to be 80 years old. How's that, lady, for a bit of fecundity, eh? That's not bad, is it? Well, there you are, the termites. And if the queen dies, every termite in the mound dies as well. Very, very sad if you've just been born and you don't get a chance at life. The life of termites, there we are. That's what you learn when you come up here to both Western Australia's Kimberley region and the Northern Territory. There you are, folks. Heather's road train passing skills in action. Right, well, earlier I was talking about termites, and one of the enemies of the termite is the echidna, or the spiny anteater, which in this case is also a spiny termite eater. And what they do is they use their claws to break open the termite mound, and they have this incredibly long tongue which they poke into the termite mound. Now the tongue is sticky, so the termite sticks to it and it just brings it into his mouth and sucks off, which is a great thing to do. The echidna is one of only 2 monotremes in the world. A monotreme is an egg-laying mammal, and the other one is the platypus. So that means that the echidna does actually give birth to an egg, but the baby echidna, which is called a puggle, breaks out of that when very, very small. It's actually tiny, and makes its way to its mother's pouch. Now, normally with marsupials, a lot of the babies will stay in the pouch for up to a year, but not with the echidnas, because echidnas, as you would know, have got sharp quills, and when the puggle is born, its quills are very, very, very soft. But after a while, and as it gorges on its mother's milk, they sort of stiffen up a bit and become very, very hard. And as soon as the puggle's quills are starting to hurt the mum, she just turfs them out of her pouch and starts all over again with a new one. An interesting fact about the mating system for the echidna is the male echidna is the only animal in the world that has got 4 penises. Yes, that's correct, 4 penises, and the female has 2 shall we say, pockets for them to be inserted into, and I suppose the echidna takes turns. I'm not sure how that happens, but he also has ribs there on those penises to give the female a little bit more enjoyment out of the mating. When the female is ready for mating, is on heat, she's very selective, so she wanders around and all the males compete to get to her, and they do this by forming an echidna train. Literally, you get 10 to 20 or whatever male echidnas following around a female, and the last one to survive, they sort of keep fighting with each other and knocking each other off, and the last one to survive is a lucky one that mates with her. There you go, ladies. Isn't it terrible that instead of being descendants of mammals, and particularly monkeys, we weren't descended from monotremes? Because wouldn't life be far more exciting if it were? Now there's a little bit of information overload for you. Thank you for watching this video. If you like our channel, then please subscribe. Have a great day. Heather and I look forward to you watching next time. Oh, by the way, we did actually make it back to Darwin.